Leaning on the curb, sipping syrup, blowing dro. Pull up, gripping balls, tipping, spin low. Leaning on the curb, sipping syrup, blowing dro. Pull up, gripping balls, tipping, spin low. Leaning on the curb, sipping syrup, blowing dro. Pull up, gripping balls, tipping, spin low.
I'm definitely here, guys. What's up? What's up, everybody? Or shall I really say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world right now, right? Could be morning, could be the afternoon, could be nighttime. Nighttime is my favorite time of the day. But I'm here with a very interesting story. Really, I think this is probably going to be an issue as time moves on, honestly. The whole work from home thing, right? The topic, the elephant in the room that a lot of employers don't really want to talk about. But the truth is that shift has happened. And it happened, and absolutely nobody had control of that, right? Truth is, when C-19 came out, right, people started working from home. And not only did people start working from home, people showed they were more productive. Why are they more productive? Well, they don't have to get in their cars and drive through traffic for an hour to get to the job site, right? Lunches, people grab something to eat and come back to their desk and sit down and work. But when you're at a work site, usually people leave the work site. There's a lot to be said about working from home and productivity being increasing. And what I would say to those of you that really want to push the agenda of working from home, make sure that your productivity is solid, right? You don't give them a reason to have you come back in the office, because the truth is there's a lot of control freaks out there, man. Have you ever had a boss that just was a complete control freak? It happens, right? And so C-19 hits the world. It made its world debut, and people started working from home. This, late 2019 going into 2020. And more than anything, if there's any sort of corporation that should be modeling work from home and what it could be like, it should be tech companies. Really. And the truth is, if the rest of the world is also doing a lot of remote work now, right? So how would you expect your employees to code and understand the work from home concepts, or more like modern working or whatever, if they don't even get the opportunity to do that, right? They can't really code or speak for those sorts of things, like even ideas that people may come up with that makes, life a little bit easier because you're remotely working. Those ideas may not even happen or come about because if you want to put everyone back in that whole like 1960s, everybody comes to the work site type thing, forcing it. I just think that there's, potential loss of productivity. Like they're calling it hybrid work, hybrid workplace. Okay. That's essentially the terms that you'll hear from time to time, right? But this is the crux of this particular situation, right? So some Apple employees, all right, are pushing back on Apple's request or their return to office pilot program. So they are going to require most of their corporate workers to be in the office at least 3 days per week. The employees have organized under a newly formed group known as Apple Together that advocates for workers' well-being and rights. And then they are petitioning leadership for more flexibility. They're also calling out a disconnect between the company's external marketing to customers, that its products allow people to work from anywhere, and its internal messaging to staffers. How can we understand what problems of remote work need solving in our products if we don't live it? And that is in an open letter that was addressed to company leadership, published Friday on Apple Together's website. Yes, they have a website. So you could look at it almost like a union, right? You could look at it like that if you want. But I'm actually about to bring their website up. Quote, "We are not asking for everyone to be forced to work from home. We are asking to decide for ourselves, together with our teams and direct manager, what kind of work arrangement works best for each one of us, be that in an office, work from home, or a hybrid approach." Y'all bear with me. My Chrome is kind of acting up. Hopefully you guys are able to hear me still. Yeah, okay. Give me a sec. I want to bring this up. Had some PDF files up. I was probably eating up some memory here. All right. So appletogether.org. Okay. This is the website, and I'm going to show it to you. Hey, what's up, Tanya? Well, their approach, Apple's current global approach is they want most of their corporate workers to be in the office at least 3 days a week, right? And let me just read here what Apple Together, which is an organization of people that work at Apple, they've all come together and they are petitioning executive leadership for more of a hybrid work type approach, right? And this has also made its way to CNN. It's, I think, probably the biggest takeaway for me. I know, and I've been saying it ever, I understand, I've been there where there's companies that don't want to let you work from home, right? But again, things have changed, and there's no who has any control over a virus that's seeping all over the world. Like, again, I think it also has proved how much productivity someone can actually exert and put out when they're allowed to work at home. Do you know how much happier people are? I mean, think about the fact that they don't even have to put their kids in daycare. Their kids can come home straight from school and mommy or daddy is there. I can't tell you how important that was. I know for me, when I was raising mine, having that flexibility. And I've had flexibility to work from home for many years. But the type of work that I do, truth is, just give me a computer. The internet is all I need. And really, I could do my job on an iPad, on an iPhone. I mean, just give me the programs and the access that I need. Really, that's it. I don't need to like physically be somewhere. I'm not labeling servers. I'm not racking servers. I'm not doing, you know what I'm saying? I'm not doing any sort of physical. I don't need to run the generators a couple times a week. Okay. If my job is not like physical in nature, where I don't really have a requirement to be there, then why force me to be there? Especially knowing that you're gonna, if you even look at productivity, like a before and after snapshot, you will see that productivity has increased for many different reasons. And just like overall, things change. Things just change, right? And this is just part of that. The world changes, and this is what Apple Together has to say about this whole thing. You can go to their site, appletogether.org. Okay, I'll copy it in the comments here for you guys. This is the group of workers that are petitioning executive leadership to reevaluate this pilot program. It says, at Apple, we make incredible products and services. We pour ourselves into that work, whether we are enriching customers' lives at the Apple Store, animating Rain for the next keynote, plating lunch at Cafe Max, or chatting with a customer to transfer their family videos from their iPhone to their MacBook. Apple prides itself on its commitment to diversity, equity, and an environment where everyone can do their best work. But Apple has fallen short of this goal for so many of our current and former teammates. So we made space to share those stories with hashtag Apple2. In Slack, we have written letters together to make requests of our leadership. However, we're seeing an increase of rules restricting our ability to continue collaborating on workplace issues that are important to us. So, we're making our own space off of our virtual campus to ensure our voices can still be heard. Apple celebrates its footprint of over 2.4 million workers. That's us, including more than 100,000 direct employees in the United States, working under 22 executives. It's time to think equitable at Apple Together. Now, they've got thoughts on office-bound work, shareholder vote guide, Apple II stories, Apple II open letter. So it says to Tim Cook and the senior leadership team, Apple prides itself on our commitment to diversity, equity, and an environment where every person is able to do their best work. However, in practice, this is far from the case. Our experiences with the people team in dealing with harassment and discrimination have left many of us more vulnerable. Apple's policies on privacy and device linking also ensure that when we do seek recourse, we risk our personal privacy being invaded. When we seek leave or accommodation through Apple's mental and physical health partners, we are asked to release broad scope personal medical information to Apple and any of Apple's agents for a blanket period of 2 years. But Apple prides itself on its privacy policies, yet it feels as workers, our privacy is of no concern. Ooh. Hundreds of us have documented our stories of abuse, discrimination, and harassment. Hundreds of us have documented reporting our stories through internal channels and receiving no relief. In sharing our stories, we are calling attention to our experiences working at Apple and how much better we can do. At Apple, we are called upon to do the right thing, and that must extend to how we treat employees. We are reaching out because Apple must fulfill its promise of inclusion, diversity, and equity, and we demand an environment where everyone feels safe and welcome and has the promise of equal opportunity and treatment. And of course, if you just go and just scroll down, I mean, they list some of their concerns. This is actually a pretty big deal when you can get a group of people together, right, to do this. And that means, there's a lot of people. Apple really needs to take it serious. They're, really at the end of the day, your employees is what makes you your company. These beautiful Apple products, that are getting pushed out, the ideas, the different programming, all of those things that go into you being able to sell your product comes from you having employees that are happy and have a work-life balance. Now, I know at the end of the day that a company has every right to ask that an employee come to their physical location to get paid. I get it. But do they? If there's nothing at that physical location that I need or require to do my job, why would I need to come there? Do you realize how diverse your group of employees, your potential pool of employees could be, right? If you stop trying to limit yourself to geographical locations, like, we got an Apple, and this is just an example, right? We got an Apple shop in Dallas, right? So we're looking for workers in the Dallas area to come and be a part of Apple here in Dallas. But that means you're limited to only people in Dallas, or you're forced to, people are forced to move to Dallas, which means you're going to be on the hook for paying for their move if they're coming to take a position with your company. I mean, really, why limit yourself when you could have the entire United States as your pool of possible or potential employees, not just people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? It opens the company up to more possibilities. But again, they're calling this a pilot program, okay? They're calling this a pilot program. Basically, it comes down to they want Apple employees, most of even their corporate workers, which I know for a fact, they've been working from home, right? These last few years, right? So it's going to be kind of hard for Apple to say, like, you can't do your job when they've been doing their job working from home, right? But they want most of their corporate workers to be back in the office at least 3 days per week. And that is what they're piloting, okay? Now, CNN did reach out to Apple. They have not responded to a request for comment on this open letter, okay? And they have not responded to an earlier request for comment on its return to work plans. Apple's hybrid return pilot initially drew backlash back in June 2021 after it was outlined to staffers, but Apple, like most companies, pushed back the rollout as a result of new COVID-19 variants in the fall and winter. Following the delays, Apple began its phased approach to getting workers back into the office, beginning with once a week at the beginning of April, before upping it to twice a week recently. The company outlined its most recent timeline for employees in an email, the text of which was published by The Verge. Friday's letter, which calls this pilot a step back in flexibility for many of our teams, comes in anticipation of the last phase of Apple's pilot, which is slated to go into effect at the end of May, where workers will be expected in the office on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. It spells out specific reasons they're taking issue with the pilot, ranging from forcing workers to unnecessarily commute, which is, quote, a huge waste of time, as well as both mental and physical resources, to what they see as an inevitable impact on diversity. Apple will likely always find people willing to work here, but being in the office at least 3 fixed days of the week will make Apple younger, whiter, more male dominated, more neuronormative, more able bodied. In short, it will lead to privileges deciding who can work for Apple, not who would be the best fit. And that's what I'm saying in regards to your pool of potential resources. Why would you limit yourself geographically? Oh, we got a campus in Dallas, right? We're looking for workers in the Dallas area to come be a part of Apple. But imagine, the smartest coder, may be some dude that lives in a cabin in the mountains somewhere. Real shit. Real shit. I kid you not. Maybe the smartest, like the ideas that and possibilities that can come out of some people's heads, especially when you're building a product like this. And then think about the requirements of these products, right? There's a new iPad every year, a new iPhone every year, not to mention your iOS updates, right? There's all sorts of stuff going on, right? Now, this doesn't mean that if your job requires that you physically need to be there, that's not what the employees are asking for. If there is no physical requirement, except you just got a badge at the door to come in and go sit at your desk, why exactly are we doing that? So one of the organizers, an employee who works on hardware engineering in the Bay Area and asked to remain anonymous for fear of retribution, told CNN Business that there are roughly 200 workers who are engaged with Apple Together. By contrast, Apple Together says the company has more than 100,000 employees in the United States, including its retail workforce. The group and the public advocacy for internal change is notable, given the company's inner workings have long been shrouded in secrecy. But the tide has turned in recent months, with retail employees at least 2 Apple stores in the U.S. seeking to unionize, and the emergence of the Apple II initiative, of which Apple Together was born. Started last August by 2 now former Apple employees, Apple II sought to encourage workers to come forward about their stories of racism, sexism, discrimination in a bid to push for changes. One of these former employees, Janeke Parrish, was fired. She has since filed a charge with the National Labor Relations Board alleging retaliation. The other, Cher Scarlett, left Apple in November. She also has pending complaints with the Labor Board. A spokesperson for Apple has previously declined to comment on those cases. According to the current employee, a committee of Apple Together workers drafted this letter in recent weeks after some staffers had previously attempted to raise concerns within Apple's internal channels to no avail. Quote, there is such a huge disconnect between executive leadership and the individuals, end quote. Noting that while some managers may want flexibility themselves or can empathize with the individual needs of their direct reports, the further you go up in the chain, the more that empathy erodes. This letter, by the way, was published on the 12-year anniversary of the late Steve Jobs, quote, thoughts on Flash, in quote, open letter, and borrows its format, ends with a nod to Apple's visionary co-founder. And as many of you know, Steve Jobs passed away from cancer many years ago. But as Steve said, quote, it doesn't make sense to hire smart people and then tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do. Here we are, the smart people that you hired, and we are telling you what to do. Please get out of our way. There is no one size fits all solution. Let us decide how we work best, and let us do the best work of our lives. What do you think? Or what are your thoughts? Has things changed? Are things is it official? Is it official that things have changed now, that working from home, being able to remotely work it's a done deal. It's a wrap. It's going to happen. All I ask is that people look at this objectively. And, that last sentence, you hire smart people because, seriously, at the end of the day, really, the employees or the individual contributors or the individual contributors or people that contribute individually, right? Not the executives, the C-levels. You are the meat. You are the smartest one in the room. That's why the executives hired you. And at the end of the day, you have way more power. And when people connect together like this, like they're doing, that power is only going to grow. I think that Apple needs to seriously reconsider what they're doing. Again, trying to geographically do things. This is 2022 now. Maybe it's time to look at things differently. Like I was saying, the smartest person coding something could live in a cabin in the mountains somewhere. It's just a smart woman or man. They don't need to physically come and be at your campus 3 days a week. Again, also consider the fact that your individual contributors, they're not making millions of dollars a year like you guys are. They don't have the type of stock options like you guys do, right? They have to pay for their daycare. And do you know how expensive daycare is? Not to mention, who even wants to take their child to daycare? The way things are going in this world, who would even want to be in a workplace, in a building with other people, with all the workplace shootings that's been going on? I'm just keeping it real. The less I'm around people, the better I feel, to be honest. That's just me, though. That's just me. And I look at it like this. If I didn't have the opportunity to work from home, I would not be where I'm at. I would find another job. Same career, but other job. Because this is a people thing. This is a control thing. And again, really study productivity and the pros and cons. There's going to be pros and cons of it all. And Apple may be saying to themselves, well, we're letting them work from home 2 days a week. Forcing them to come in just 3 days a week, that's not a big deal, but it is. And is it really necessary? Especially after the entire world got dipped in this whole C-19 thing and was basically forced to do a lot of remote work. How did Apple fare? pretty good, right? You're still pushing out your products. The products are better than ever, right? I love my 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I'm actually seriously consider buying a MacBook. And that's a big deal for me. You know, I run Linux and I run Windows. For me to buy a MacBook, well, it's more so for the graphics and Photoshop and Illustrator because I really enjoy Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, you know, more so Illustrator though, because I'm a nerd like that, a geek, and I'm okay with that. But I just think that times are changing, right? This is a different world now, and I think that it's even more important for tech companies, especially the top 5, right? I mean, we're not talking about an Amazon warehouse here where workers have to come in and sort, package, that sort of a thing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people that don't have any physical requirement to be in that office. That is what people are talking about. All I'm saying is consider your employees' work-life balance and the fact that they don't have millions of dollars like y'all do. Where you can afford the best daycares, and you know, your other half doesn't even have to work. So they're always there when the kids have to go to school, when they need to come home from school. Man, I'm telling you, that right there means so much. Being able to be there when your kids go to school in the morning, and being able to be there when they come home, but yet you're still working, you're still pushing out work, but you have the ability to be there, maybe even have dinner, you know, already cooking when they're walking through the door. Man, I can't tell you how much that means to a mother. I know it meant a lot to me to have that flexibility. So I really hope that Apple will reconsider. Anyway, happy Saturday to everybody. That's all I came up here to say. I'll be live later on today. We're going to be doing a paranormal stream over on the Leak You Paranormal page that I've recently started. And we're going to take a look at a couple of new UFO sightings. And especially there's a lot of reports of UFOs in Ukraine, which I find very interesting, being the fact that it seems like in times of war or areas where war takes place, there does seem to be an increased report, or there's increased reporting of anomalies like UFOs that show up right in the air, that sort of a thing. But it's Saturday, and so I just kind of feel like chilling. Don't have any cleaned up. I got the candles lit, baby. I got the mood just right around here, you know, relaxing. About to throw some something in the crock pot. And once I get that in, I'll be back, and we will not only be going over those two, new UFO sightings, there's also some Mars anomalies that I plan on working through today as well. So it's going to be one of those days. So anyway, guys, much love. Until next time.
Leaning on the curb, sipping syrup, blowing throat. I'm cool, gripping balls, tipping, still